my wife and I are struggling with breastfeeding.
Hopefully you're not struggling with breastfeeding.
Well,
I know you're a new
deal,
dad.
right?
Contrary to what some of the science textbooks say now, you can't, brother.
Oh, shame.
Oh,
Well, I wish I could. That way I could help her, right?
Bro, I tell you what,
struggling
man.
so much. And
yeah,
I see her struggling, and like we have this, I call it the baby Keurig, right? It's like this formula machine. And you can just press a button and there's a bottle.
Okay.
And so I just want to like give my baby a formula bottle when I see my wife break down every single night. And I get that breastfeeding is super important to her. I don't really see it as that big of a deal, but I know since it's important to her, it should be important to me. And I just need some new tools to help support her.
Sure. So I want to first blow up that idea. You're going to have things that are very important to you in your marriage that will not be important to your wife and vice versa. Okay. It doesn't have to be something, but you can honor her, the importance that it has for her. Okay. And so don't ever feel like, well, it's important to her, so I have to make it important to me. That can't work like that. You're going to have an exhausting life if y'all do that for each other, okay? If you're constantly forcing yourself like, she likes square dancing, so I've got to like it too. Like, nope. She can go square dance with somebody else, right? So when you say she's having problems with breastfeeding, is she having problems producing enough milk? Is she having problems? Is the kid having problems latching? Like, what are the challenges here?
Yeah, I mean, both of those, right?
Okay.
Yeah, both of those, and then just extremely painful.
Okay. Has she met with a breastfeeding coach?
Just, I think yesterday was her first lactation consultant.
Okay. How'd that go?
I guess she learned a few exercises or strategies or whatever to try out.
Okay.
So we're going to try those tonight.
Okay. So what I would tell you is on day 12, nothing is the way it is in the movies, and nobody tells you these things. Like when you see just like in a movie or a buddy and their wife is just breastfeeding and it all looks just so natural and they're just having a conversation in a coffee shop with one of those little showery thing, you know what I mean? It looks like a shower curtain, you know? Or like the other day at the hibachi grill, that lady just decided to go for it right there at the hibachi grill. And there's like fire flaming up and the guy's like making onion stuff and she just let it rip. Whatever, knock your lights out, right? But like it looks so simple and so pain-free and so ... And I had some friends who were way down the road and they would tell me, they're like, no. Like that baby doesn't have any teeth, but those gums feel like death. Or they're like getting a kid to latch sometimes is really tough. And then you begin to think, I'm a failure as a mother, or my body's broken somehow. And it's just a challenge, right? Just getting there can be a challenge. And so you're day 12 in, I would exhale a little bit, just knowing, man, there's different sights and smells and challenges and pain and all those kind of things are just new and nobody tells anybody about any of that stuff. Okay? And I applaud you, brother, for wanting to help. And you are experiencing this in day 12. I experienced it for about 2 years before I called it out. So I'm going to give you some language here, but kudos to you for already trying to figure it out.
Well, thanks.
Few moments in my life have I felt more powerless than in the season you are in right now. Because there's going to be seasons over the next 1 to 2 years where your kid will be screaming and you can't stop it. And you will feel like a huge failure. You will see your wife in tears because she thinks and wants so desperately this basic biological process between a mother and an infant, feeding, is so difficult. And you're going to want to rescue her from the pain, from the tears, from the kid biting, the kid screaming, the kid kicking, all those. You want to rescue her, and you can't.
Yes.
And you'll feel
that's where I'm at.
I know, and you'll feel freaking powerless. And you put on top of that, you haven't slept. And you put on top of that, you're getting emails from work that you're trying to respond to, and you're not doing a good job of that either. And then you just start to feel like I suck at all of this stuff.
God.
And That's a total lie, and it's not true. You're a good husband. You're a good dad, Neil.
Thanks.
And this is just one of those things that I wish I had another phrase for it, but this just sucks. If your baby was starving and you were watching your wife force her ideology and it was coming at the cost of your kid's health, then we're going to intervene. Okay? If you see your wife trying to make something happen and the lactation consultant says, hey, you aren't producing enough milk, we have to supplement. And she said, absolutely not. I will never supplement with formula ever, ever, ever. We have a different kind of problem. It doesn't sound like y'all are there yet. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say not yet.
Okay. All right. My hope is now that you have done the right thing, which is to bring in a professional, that professional will serve as what I would call a neutral third party. And it will give you a touch point that when you start getting concerned, hey, that baby hasn't eaten all day. The doctor said we need a supplement. I know that's not what we want to do. That wasn't our plan. That we wanted everything to be natural. We wanted that way. And thank God we live in a teeny tiny sliver of history when they have supplementary nutrition for infants. Thank God. And then we can go be lunatics about what's in this, this is what I would do. I would what's in that formula and who made it and who owns, go down that rabbit hole. Let that be a thing y'all can focus on, like a demon y'all can fight together. And that will shift the blame from fighting her body, her fighting herself, you fighting your ineptitude as a dad, which isn't true, but it's what it feels like. My hope is that just a few tips from a lactation consultant, from a breastfeeding coach, man, that makes all the difference in the world. And it may not be easy, but it may be way better.
Okay.
And maybe sit down and ask your wife this question. After the baby's asleep, okay, ask her this question. How do you want me to bring up concerns about the baby? And when do you want me to bring them up? Because I want to do it in a way that is honoring you and us and that kid. And it's just a good conversation to have. I've learned after one of my kids has just thrown a temper tantrum or being 9 or 15 or whatever's happening, I've learned that is not the moment to tell my wife, we need to start doing, that's just not a good time. All right? I've learned that the next morning after everybody's had coffee to be like, hey, tonight, let's go for a long walk. I want to talk about what happened yesterday. And my wife goes, all right, cool. And you'll just learn. So having this conversation now, how do you want me to have this conversation with you as we move forward? And then the second thing is, how do you want me to ask you things that I don't fully understand? Okay? Like you mentioned one of them. You could care less if it's breast milk or if it is formula. I don't care. I just want my kid to not scream. I don't want my kid to have a full belly.
Right.
So how do you ask that question to an exhausted, hormones have just exploded, body still hurts. Either she's got an episiotomy or she's got a huge wound healing across her lower abdomen, right? Like, how do I bring this stuff up? It's very delicate, right?
Right.
It's tough. What you don't want to do is get in the position that some men find themselves where they start telling women what they need to be doing with their baby and their body.
Yeah.
Because whether you're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It feels like it's now you versus me and my baby. And husbands never want to find themselves there. And sometimes husbands have to intervene. Things aren't healthy, things aren't safe, things aren't okay. Postpartum's real, it's scary, all yada, 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 yada. How do we want to have these hard conversations?
So I guess it's in the moment, at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night when we're trying to feed and she's crying and frustrated.
Yep.
How do I support her?
Here's how you do this. At noon, the day before that 10 o'clock, you let her know, I feel powerless at 11 o'clock when you're crying. What are some things I can do to bring you peace when that's happening? So that at 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock, when she is heartbroken that she's struggling with breastfeeding, because she's had this picture in her mind. She knows this kid a year in advance of you, which took me a long time to recognize. She's already got a relationship with this kid. And so when she's feeling shame, like her body's a failure, like she's a failure as a mother, she can't even feed her own kid, all these stories she's telling herself, you don't want her also to feel like she's got to take care of you at 10 o'clock too.
Yeah.
So y'all have already had that discussion at noon. Hey, how can I best love you when things aren't going well? And she might say, it would really be awesome for you just to sit by me and not ask me any questions. Let her cry. It may be really awesome. Bring me a cup of tea. It may be really awesome. Just take this baby and make that baby a bottle and let me just sob by myself. And then have that plan so that when things get tough at 10 or 11, and by the way, it won't just be about this. There's going to be some weird rash that just pops up that happens. There's going to be a preschool that y'all have signed up for 4 years in advance that just closes, and now you don't have any childcare. There's going to be things like that pop up all the time. So having a plan ahead of time so that when this thing happens, how can I best love you?
What, you just like sit there and the uncomfortableness and just let her cry?
Sometimes it's I'll rub
So
your
hard.
feet. It is, man. Sometimes I'll rub your feet. And by the way, in 10 years, is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
In 10 years, some little jerk of a fourth grader is going to break her heart. And you're not going to be able to fix that. But you're going to be able to sit by her. And you're going to be able to hold her teeny tiny little 10-year-old body while she sobs. You can't fix it. You're going to want to go fight a fourth grader. But you're not going to be able to fix it, but you're going to be able to exhale. And so, yes, there is a thing about feeling the powerlessness. It doesn't mean you're broken, doesn't mean something's wrong. It just is. But let me tell you this. This is the way this is, and the feelings are scary and the feelings hurt, and you're a good dad, man.
Thank you.
And you're a good husband.
So heavy.
It is. And can I challenge you to do something that I wish I had done?
I'll certainly try.
Get on Amazon today and buy a really, really nice, thick, lined, leather-bound journal. And at the top, write day 13. And in those moments of powerlessness, those moments of just you're overcome with love, you're overcome with the responsibility, the weight of a little girl, write her a note, an entry into this thing, so that when she's 16, you can just hand her the whole thing. And here's 16 years of how much your dad loves you. When it was hard, when it was easy, when I didn't know what to do, when I didn't feel like I was loving you and your mom well, but I just stood in it, I stayed in it. When I had to say hard things like, hey, we've tried for 3 weeks and the baby's losing weight. We got to do something about formula. Let's go meet with a doctor. We got to do something. And that was a hard conversation. Hand her that journal. And by the way, that will give you something to do with that excess feelings of powerlessness and I don't know what to do next that you're feeling at 10 o'clock at night, at 2 in the morning, at 5 in the morning, all that kind of stuff. Whew. All the joys and excitement and pain and challenge of having a newborn at the house, man, when you feel like, I don't know what to do next. You're right where you need to be, brother. I'm proud of you. Hang in the game. This is when most men begin to bail. Hang in there.